everybody, welcome back to another market update video here at Benefits Central. I'm Benjamin, and today Bitcoin and the S&P charts. But before I get right into the market, please leave a like, drop a comment, and if you can subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Honestly, everybody, the market has reacted insanely since the last time we expected a great push towards the upside. This isn't another video telling you that we're going to head back to the upside. Honestly, the Feds are not letting up on rates, on anything right now. Honestly, they are extremely hawkish, and they plan on being so throughout the rest of 2022 for right now. We do have a lot more coming. I do have this big video coming out very soon, still editing. It's just taking a bit more time, but packed with a lot of information, especially for our 2023 and ending of 2022 expectations. However, I did just want to sneak in a little quick market update video for you guys, just to show you guys what we are ranging in right now for the S&P 500 and the rest of the crypto markets, especially with the news out in the markets as well, out on media, just causing a lot of, I'd say, fear, realistically causing us to dump more than we should. However, the Feds are coming out and saying that we haven't seen anything as of yet, as far as a stock market crash and as far as a recession, that this isn't realistically anything, that this is just realistically just been a correction probably, and just them most likely taking out bits by bits, obviously, from the market. But other than that, realistically, they said that we have a lot to just be ready realistically for the pain. We have a lot to go through for the rest of 2022. But other than that, realistically, like I said, I do have a big video coming out updating you guys on in detail about the whole event and what their plans are, and what my expectations will be for towards 2023 and the ending of 2022. However, looking at the S&P 500, we did just break the resistance or support that was resistance once before, once we formed this triple bottom over to our left. Now, looking on the daily, it does look like we formed somewhat of a triple bottom if we can close today. It is 1 o'clock as of right now, Eastern, so I believe that honestly we can, I believe that we can close a little above 3,800 if we end up getting massive momentum before 5 to 6 between our shifting and the daily close candles. Realistically, if we close below this, then I do think that we will continue bearish past just because we broke our resistance and support that we had created last time when we were around these prices, and now just continuing this descending channel as we've broke from our 200 moving average. When we expected that bullish break, we honestly got rejected. Obviously, that was when Powell had spoke. But other than that, realistically, we are just continuing this trend, getting a big bearish cross on the daily as well. But however, we are oversold near the 30 as of right now. We're not extremely oversold, but we still are oversold. Since we did break that, and if we can't hold this for the rest of the day, then I do expect to see the support from our triple bottom that we broke out of before to be breached once again, if not tapped. Usually when it does come this low, we do get wicks as seen right here. We do get some fun wicks that end up wicking a lot of people out, stop losses, and take profits, obviously. But if we did break that support as of right now on the top, right around, I believe it was 3,900, right around our 4,000 level for the S&P 500. Once we broke that, I do expect us to come back down at around the low 3,800s, around like 3,750, until we end up testing, of course, our biggest wick down from our last doji that we'd see. I'd call it around 3,700 exactly. That will end up probably TPing if we end up breaking our support for our triple bottom that we had broke once before on the S&P 500. However, as of right now, like I said, we do seem to be running out of steam, hopefully. That is kind of hypocritical to say, just because the bearish momentum is still continuing and we just did get a bearish cross. However, like I said, we are oversold, so if we can flip this somehow on inside the markets, the bulls come back in just to reset the RSI a bit, we can see prices go back up, at least to test what was once our resistance, most likely becoming our resistance once again, at the top of our triple bottom right over here. So we might come back and retest at least 4,000 or 3,900 or 3,950 at around those prices, just before we end up heading further down to the downside. But other than that, realistically, looking at the weekly, we are continuing this GBI effect once we tap the top of the descending channel that we are in, most likely revisiting our 200 moving average for the weekly. However, we did just cross our last wick down that we once had from our last week. So continuing, that's just signaling that we have more bearish momentum coming into play for the markets. However, looking at the monthly, we did, I believe we gapped down, if anything. But now with that failed attempt for that monthly RBI, with that extreme bullish momentum that we were attempting, it ended up switching, obviously, into extreme bearish momentum, continuing us to the downside, most likely revisiting our 50 moving average if we do continue to the downside, if we decide to break and breach our last support levels at around, like I said, 3,800, 3,750. We will end up revisiting that 50 moving average, most likely getting a bounce off of that, obviously, because we are not drastically just yet, excuse me, but we are, obviously, we've had a big descending channel start to form on the RSI for the monthly for the S&P 500. Most likely we will tap the 30, if anything, spike down into the oversold, just based off of the news and how the Fed is moving towards fighting inflation and handling the rest of the events that we are having for the rest of 2022. But other than that, realistically, we are attempting to try to see where this is going to bottom out realistically. A lot of people have some crazy expectations and kind of analysis and theories, but realistically it gets no simpler than just simple chart analysis and price action, where we've once trended before and where we're headed to now. It's not too hard. But other than that, I'm going to jump into the S&P or not the S&P, but Bitcoin, just for you guys to see how the S&P 500 has been affecting the rest of the markets. Obviously, the dollar is soaring, but we'll get into that right now. Looking like a double bottom as of right now on the 15-minute. However, looking at the daily, you'll see that we did get that drastic wick down the other day, and then it got bought right back up, obviously. Looking like a double bottom. However, we are getting another jab at this right now for Bitcoin at around the 18,800 levels. Did get some massive volume spike-ins from yesterday once that got bought back up. However, looking at the weekly, we still are forming this double bottom and this W. As long as we can hold above this, then I don't expect further prices to the bearish side. I do believe crypto can recover, especially with what the Fed is doing. I do think that crypto has a good chance at recovering from the bad news and worse events that are coming to the economy. But other than that, realistically looking at Bitcoin, you can see that 17,500 looks like a TP for the weekly as of right now. If we continue to breach like what we did right now, if we don't seem to at least respect the W formation that we're trying to form right now, especially being oversold, once drastically oversold. If we don't seem to respect this double bottom, then I do expect us to end up TPing at around 17,500 for a short. I'm just not going to hop into a short just because of how obviously we've been in a descending channel for weeks now. But how oversold in my eyes that we are. A lot of people saying that we have a lot more room to go down, especially with the stock market data. But I just don't believe so. I think that we will end up seeing how we react within this next month, to seeing how the crypto market realistically starts to form with what data we start to get from the Feds. But other than that, we are oversold, so we do have some room to go to the upside. Like I said, worst case scenario is we break our formation right now of our sideways consolidation, and then we end up seeing a touch and a breach, if anything, at 17,500. If we can't hold that and we end up breaking that, then we do end up revisit some interesting lows for Bitcoin at around, I would say, 1,400 for Bitcoin as of right now, or not 1,400, but 14,000, excuse me, for Bitcoin in price tags right now, just because of the news, like I said. But that could be a stretch, just because we could be rounding out, like I said, with this double bottom and trying to push back up, obviously touching and connecting with our 20 moving average once again. Obviously, we've been closing, however, which is extremely bearish, but once again closing below our 200 moving average on the weekly, which is not great for us. However, looking at the monthly, we did get this continuation for this GBI in the market. However, like I said, if we can just continue to hold above this and don't break the support, then I don't expect us to revisit that 17,500 level. For the monthly, it's looking at around a little below it, around 17,300, 17,350. But other than that, realistically, Bitcoin does have and looks like it has a better shot at rebounding than the rest of the stock market as of right now, as the dollar continues to soar. However, looking at Ethereum, just to show you guys, it's pretty similar. Same wick down and then buy back up. However, that can be a pivot to push us back down. after we retested that 1400 level and getting some more rejection obviously off of that and pushing us back down, most likely off of news and fear off of what the Fed has been saying. Obviously we got that bearish momentum and that bearish cross, and although we did just tap being oversold, so we might get some bulls back in, at least not as of right now, but we did tap our 200 moving average as well, so we did get some bullish action as of right there, that buyback on the weekly. But we are going to test that and see how strong we are. It is Tuesday, so we can see this, debating realistically where we want to break to, whether we can retest that 20 moving average at around 1500, or we end up breaking to the downside and we continue towards our wicks for TPs on a short if you wanted to realistically, at around 1,000 or I believe 850 for Ethereum. But other than that, looking at the monthly, like I said, we just once did again bounced on our 50 moving average for the monthly for Ethereum. So like I said, it's looking a little different for cryptos. It's looking like we already tapped our moving averages, like the S&P 500 and the rest of the market still needs to. However, looking at the crypto side, it looks like we've already tapped most indicators, and we are on the oversold side as of right now. So we could see a bit more bullish momentum, at least just to shake out a few of the weak hands for right now, but then getting some bullish momentum into the markets as we tap our moving averages and try to attempt to go to the upside. But other than that, realistically, I will be jumping into the dollar just to show you guys how that is looking. A lot of people are talking about XRP, and that will be in my next video. Especially with what the Fed is talking about, especially with a lot of people talking about the release on Robinhood for the USDC. It's a US dollar stable coin that everybody has been questioning and not really getting into just yet. However, they just made it official now, a little more official at least, and then Robinhood adopted it, so it's very interesting. However, looking at the dollar, we did get that massive push up once again to the 110. Continuing with bullish momentum. However, we are around that overbought area, which hasn't seemed to been a problem for the dollar as of right now. But on the weekly, we have continued, expecting that we do continue to rally up. We will see that almost 111 price again for the dollar, and then for the monthly, if we do continue, our last wick up on that, I believe, was that 110, or that 111 price tag, just a little below it, 200 points below it. But other than that, we do still have some upside to go. We are drastically overbought, so I do expect us to either double top out of here, or at least somewhat come back down and reject off of this 111 price tag. If not, then this was a dip and rip, and we're going to continue and see higher prices for the dollar, which would mean crypto will come down, and which will mean the stock market will continue to flush down as well. So do just be careful. Do just keep your eyes peeled, especially with data reports coming out, CPI, PPI. We do have a lot of data and events, especially for this next week or a few weeks that we have left in September, and then for our next month coming and the rest of 2022 as well. But I will talk about that in the next video in more detail. This was just another quick market update video for you guys. But other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.